Well, I'm finally back on my bike. I was doing a major service on it, and I did the service myself. I did the valve clearance checks, and it took me about, I don't know, it was probably down for at least 3 weeks to almost a month, I guess. I'm gonna make a video as like a guide, so if you want to decide that you want to do it yourself, you can probably watch the video that I put up, or any other video, and decide whether you think you can do it, or maybe whether it's too much. But yeah, so welcome to my channel, where we talk about bikes and Bible verses and things like that. So today I'm going to be talking about what it's like to own multiple bikes, and to let you know that I actually sold my ZX6. So I had 2 bikes, my ZX6 and then this one, and I sold my ZX6. So I'm going to give you like the advantages, disadvantages of having multiple bikes, how I feel about you know, just having one, why I sold it. And so ironically, the advantage of having 2 bikes is when one is being worked on, you've got another one to ride. And you know, I haven't ridden for like 3 or 4 weeks. I feel like I've forgotten how to ride. But the first disadvantage, one of the main reasons I sold one of my bikes, was I like to be used to a bike. And there were, although they're, you know, this one and my ZX6 are both like sport bikes, but you know, one thing that was very different was the clutch. So you know, this bike, the clutch bite point is right up at the top, and my ZX6 was like almost, you know, maybe 20% off the clutch. It's already starting to engage, and that was a bit of a problem for me, especially if you're like commuting. So I mean, if you're just doing it for recreational stuff, you got 2 bikes and you want to enjoy both bikes and they're very different like that, I don't think that's a problem. But for me, when I was commuting, it was a bit of a problem, because I just had to like remind myself, you know, like you know, this, like I'd be ready to take off and I'd be like, this is the bike with the low bite point or the high bite point, you know. And it's a bit annoying, like when you just sort of want to go to work, and just I like to be used to a bike, so like just to have one. But like I said, you know, it's not everyone's the same. Some people have like, you know, 5 bikes, 7 bikes. That's up to you. But for me, just for that commuting, I just wanted something that I was used to. I'm not sure if I really want to have a bike just for recreational, so I don't, I guess, ride that much for non-commuting. The second reason why I sold is you can appreciate, like you lack appreciation when, for me, I lack appreciation when I have multiple bikes. So you know, you could say I lack the appreciation for my current bike, this Daytona. And you know, when you think of it, this is the best bike I've ever owned, like in terms of price, performance, and everything. It's the best bike I've ever owned. I've had it for 6 months, and I only really just felt like I owned it, or I had it after I sold my ZX6. And sure, I used to ride it, and when my ZX6 was not, you know, working, was in the workshop for like 3 months, I used to ride this every day. But I really felt like I appreciated this bike a lot more just by owning the one, not having multiple. And so really that appreciation, you know, it just sort of hit me a realization after I sold it, you know, maybe a week or two later. I was like, wow, I've got this, you know, cool Daytona, which was my dream bike ever since, you know, years ago, ever since I started riding. It was kind of my dream bike, and then owning it, I didn't really appreciate it because I guess I was enjoying my ZX6 too much. And the third reason, like a disadvantage, is whatever budget you have for a bike, you need to stretch that over multiple bikes. So I mean, like, I can afford to have the 2 bikes, you know, the 2 registrations, 2 sets of insurance, and, you know, a bit of servicing. But for every bike there's like a wish list, and I think people just take, you know, there's stuff that it's nice to have, but you don't necessarily have to have it. And then when you got 2 bikes, you got 2 sets of wish lists. Which means that it just takes longer for you to get these little nice to haves, and sometimes it's comfort stuff, like you know, I wouldn't mind having a better clutch lever on this bike. That's a couple of $100. Just, you know, there's always nice to haves. And when you got 2 bikes, that's 2 sets of nice to haves, and so it stretches whatever budget you have to not get those. And that might include you like neglecting some maintenance. So maybe there's, you know, you think, oh, I could get another 1,000 Ks out of my tires. So that's a really disadvantage. Potentially you could jeopardize your safety because you're neglecting, because, you know, now there's 2 sets of tires. Which one do you do first? So you're stretching. You might think about compromising certain service things. But one advantage is you get to ride more. So I noticed I was able to get heaps more you know, riding when I have 2 bikes, especially when one of them was sort of always being repaired. That's all I got in terms of, you know, advantages and disadvantages, and why I decided to only have 1 bike now. So we'll finish off with a Bible verse, and that's from the pastorals, which is 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2, and I'll paraphrase what it says. It's talking about people who want to be leaders with good reputation. They need to be a man of 1 wife, a one woman man. They need to not be drunk on too much wine, sober minded, you know, hospitable. And these are the characteristics that it's saying that the Bible's saying a person needs to have, especially if he's a leader, like a shepherd of a church. And you could apply that now to, you can apply that to like overindulgence. So sometimes it's better to have just enough than to overindulge, and I can actually realize that with bikes. So I can say I can overindulge in bikes. I mean, they're cheap enough for me that I can afford to buy one or two, and I've had like 8 bikes all up. I can say, you know, in 7 years, and you know, just swapping bikes every year, maybe sometimes every couple of months. I don't lose money mostly. Sometimes I make money on bikes, so I can say that I'm overindulging. You know, some people just have one bike for years and years, whereas I've had, you know, 8, and no matter how much you have, really you don't get much satisfaction, like much extra satisfaction. So I could be just as satisfied on a small bike that I've kept and, you know, always ride. Having all these extra bikes just maybe gave me a little bit of happiness for a short time, but then always wanting more. So people are never satisfied. So there's no point of overindulging. You know, as a human, you're never going to be satisfied. And I guess that's how I see the verse is saying. In anything, you know, money and pleasures, sinful pleasures, especially when you know the pleasures cost you, like maybe they cost you a lot of money, maybe they cost you your livelihood. So anyway, that's all I've got. If you like my content, please hit the like button. If you like this video, if you like my content, please hit subscribe, and take it easy and ride safe.